All right, welcome back to another Delay of Game NBA podcast. And today we'll be discussing the Warriors, specifically the Warriors. And I basically have a general question for you. Are the Warriors in trouble? They're 1-2. They barely won that one with the Damian Lee buzzer beater. Are the Warriors in trouble? Are we maybe should they tank another year, just like last year? What do you think?
Well, obviously, a 1-2 start is not an ideal start for a winning organization. So I think it has been a rough start. I'll say that, but I wouldn't put them in the category of being in trouble since their first two games, they played the top two teams from the Eastern Conference, but then they barely went to the Chicago Bulls, as you said. For now, it's a rough start, but I have a feeling if Stephen Curry continues to be productive to get Draymond Green back, the chemistry continues to build, I think they'll be in a good playoff position, like no need to tank. But for now, this rough start, it needs to turn around. Because if they continue barely winning any games or lose games, then it's going to be a troubling season. What are your thoughts?
Right, and we're seeing a lot of odd stuff coming from some of the team. Kelly Oubre can't seem to make a shot outside of the restricted area. Andrew Wiggins is still doing the same thing, just missing shots. We've seen that before already, anyways. But I think the struggle here is playing with Steph Curry. The entire team is still fairly new, right? Steph Curry was injured last year. They didn't have much playing time with them. And it's really important to learn how to play alongside Steph Curry and the chemistry. That's why the Warriors were so good in the past, because the chemistry between Draymond, Iguodala, Livingston, Bogut, Klay Thompson, they were so good. Yeah. It was so good. They know how to share the ball. They know where each of them are going to be at given time in the play, and they're just confident. They just trust each other, right? I think this team is gonna is moving through and working through all those, I guess, barriers right now between the trust between the teammates, and once they start trusting each other more later on in the season, about maybe 20 games in, they're gonna be fine. And obviously, Draymond not being on the court is a big deal. He's the vocal guy. He's the guy, telling you what to do, where to be, encouraging you. And I can see Steph trying to be that guy right now. But they do sorely need Draymond.
Yeah, I definitely agree. As you said, there's some key players that need to step up. Andrew Wiggins, Kelly Oubre. Once their production continues to elevate, that will tremendously help the team. But for now, it's just been a rough start, as we said. And again, they haven't, last season, obviously they were the second worst team record-wise, or the worst. But before that, they're used to winning. This is a winning organization, obviously, with the 3 championships, and then they brought KD for 2. So now they have to restart, and it's going to be tough, but it's all part of the process. So, we have to continue to wait for Draymond Green, a valuable asset. And we'll see how the season continues for them. Obviously, Western Conference is pretty tough, but again, we'll see how the chemistry goes from here.
Okay, do you think Steve Kerr is doing a good enough job as a coach right now? Do you think he's up to the task of he hasn't coached this kind of roster for a long time? He's mostly had the talent that was able to basically coach themselves. All he had to do is maybe give them a little nudge here and there. So what do you think Steve Kerr's role has been throughout this time of transition for the team?
That's a really good question. Obviously, he led them to the championship, so they have this championship DNA. But as you said, Steve Kerr just had to give a bit of a nudge because the players already knew what they were doing. But this season is a different scenario. So for Steve Kerr as well, or even most of the coaching staff, I think it's also a new process for them. It's a new process for everybody. And I think that last season he didn't live up to the expectations because they didn't do so well. But I think with at least Stephen Curry back, he can be fine because Steve Kerr, he needs at least one star player, one player like he's used to, like back from the 2015 roster, 2016 roster. But we'll see how the season continues. But for sure, it's a new process for him as well, since he's a winner.
All right. Final question. Where do you think Warriors are going to rank at the end of the season?
I honestly see them in a playoff spot. I don't see them in top 5. See them fighting for the 8th or 7th seed because it's not going to be a smooth season. Even though I'm saying a rough start and they can go win games, they're not going to like have a perfect record or anything. So it's going to be a really tough season to stay in playoff contention. So I have them fighting for the last seed, 7th or 8th. How about you?
I think they could definitely turn it around. But I'm also a little more optimistic because I think the other teams are also going to struggle with their new rosters. I think Phoenix still needs a little bit of room to improve. Getting chemistry between Chris Paul and the rest of the team. I think Portland, who nearly missed the playoffs last year, definitely got better, but obviously there's still room to improve. Houston might possibly be out of the playoffs, so we're missing Houston. So I think they'd definitely around maybe like the 5 to 6 seed ish, middle of the pack. I'm just looking at middle of the pack here, because I do know the top teams: Lakers, Clippers, Denver, Mavericks. Those are the teams I'm confident are going to be in the top 4 in whatever order they are in at the end of the season. The rest of the teams could take any spot from the 5 to 8 spot, right? Utah, Phoenix, Warriors, Memphis, Trailblazers, Pelicans, right? Those 6 teams are going to be fighting for those last 3 spots of the playoffs, because I think those 4 other ones are playoff locks, or last 4 spots, because the other 4 are playoff locks. Like you said, the Warriors are going through this transition, and it's going to be exciting to see where they stand and if we're correct by the end of the season.